Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, YAHAWAH, Yahawah being the true name of the Father, and Yahawashi being the true name of His only begotten Son in the ancient Hebrew tongue, the ones whom you ignorantly call God and Jesus. Alright? I want to give double honors to the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me the truth, along with the sincere brethren that's also laboring and doing the work as well. And to you I say shalom. So yeah, I just want to do a quick video, man. Pretty much going over the economy, the state of the economy, not only in America, but it's happening all over the world. You know, you're having a global collapse. That is what we're witnessing right now, and everything is pretty much circulating around the United States, because the United States is being saved for last, and that's what we're leading up to, the economic collapse of America. That's why you have these people that are these elites of the world that are cashing out, man. They pretty much buying up gold and, you know, stacking up all their treasures for the last go around, you know, because they understand prophecy. And they know that this is the end of America. So in order for them to survive, they had to gather all the resources that they can and stash them up in these bunkers that they've been built. They've been have these bunkers that they have built to prepare for this upcoming collapse. All right, so I want to play a quick video, and but before I do that, let's take a look at the U.S. national debt. Now, if you look over here in the red to the left, the U.S. national debt is $23,111,282,200,000. All right, and that is a debt that is steady climbing. As you can see, that shit's going up like a skyrocket, man. And over here next to it, you have the average debt per citizen of the United States. So every citizen of the United States is $70,000 in debt. All right, and it's climbing. It's not gonna go down. You know, they pumping $120 billion a night into the financial system, into these banks, in order to keep everything kind of afloat, because America is a sinking ship right now. But that's only gonna last for so long, you know. Eventually they're gonna have to ditch everything like they're doing now, in which they are stacking up gold, because there's a big increase of the rich people of the world compared to the middle class. You know, that gap is spreading, and the rich are getting richer, and the middle class on down to the lower are suffering because of that. So that's why you're seeing a global collapse, because these people, they are stacking up because they understand what's coming. All right, so I'm gonna play this quick video, and I'm gonna go through scriptures and kind of sift it out with the scriptures, to let you know that these people that study money, they understand what's going on. But this is all because of the will of the Most High, Yahawashi, which is pretty much gonna plague the whole world. So without further ado, man, let's get into it.
The global financial distress is evident. The federal debt has increased by $1.3 trillion in 12 months, according to data released by the U.S. Treasury. Today, the U.S. government is nearly $23 trillion in debt. Basically, we have been collectively enslaved, and we have been accountable to pay back all of that money with interest. By all means, at this stage, it is actually impossible for us ever to pay back all that debt. Not only that, but every year we even add another $1 trillion or so to the balance. The global elite is now retrieving more than $500 billion in interest from this debt year on year, and it is anticipated that number will significantly heighten in the years ahead. Corporate debt is at record.
Yeah, and as I was saying, man, these global elites, they cashing in on interest, man. They stacking up and they buying gold, and you know, because they're preparing for this day right here, as mentioned in Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 10. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills." And that's dealing with the stock market. All right, it's gonna crash because they're all gonna ditch it, the dollar, and And after this happens, these people, they're going to go and hide, man. They're going to go and hide in their bunkers. So what they're doing right now is they're gathering riches. As we go to James 5:1, and it's going to explain it. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. All right. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth." All right. It says, "You have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanting. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you." And the just is dealing with the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives. They are the seed of the justice, all right? And Esau, which is the forefather of the so-called white man, is the seed of the serpent Satan. All right? But unto us who are in this truth and understand and know, James 5:7 says, "Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain." And that's only for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives who are being oppressed by the so-called white man and his philosophies and his legislations, all right? Because he's pretty much setting you up for the slaughter, because he's gathering up all the riches, and he's ditching the whole, pretty much the whole world, man. They're protecting themselves. Meanwhile, they're leaving everyone else out in the cold. If I can say it like that, all right? So let me play a little bit more, and I'm going to go back to the scripture.
Highs standing at $10 trillion. Our debt is setting records in every aspect of the economy and contends. If we include all other forms of corporate debt not listed on the stock exchanges, that brings the total to $15.5 trillion, which is equivalent to 74% of GDP. Eventually, all of this debt will never be paid off. Rather, the bubble will just keep inflating until it unavoidably bursts. And when it finally bursts, say hello to a total meltdown. In fact, any time the debt exceeds about 80% or more of the GDP of any part of local, regional, or global society, it cannot be fixed except by total bankruptcy and a reset.
Yeah, and that's what they want to do, man. They want to crash the economy to issue in a new world order. Like I was saying in Zephaniah, like it says in Zephaniah 1:10, it's going to be a great crashing from the hills, all right? Because there's no way out of this debt that they have, you know? And when that crash comes, this is Ecclesiastes 12:3. It says, "In that day, and the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few." And that's dealing with the jobs. The jobs shall cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, because it's not going to be a sight or a vision of the future, because everything would be in shambles, all right? Because everything, what the jobs will be pretty much gone, and there will be no future ahead from America. Simple as that. All right, Ecclesiastes 12:4. It says, "And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding, when the jobs is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low." All right. It says, you see. But yeah, pretty much, man. Once this economy fall, man, and people have no jobs, they're gonna try to plant you with a chip, and that's part of the new world order, all right? And if you don't want to go along with that new world order, they pretty much gonna put you to death, all right? This is Revelation 13:16. It says, "And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." All right, so understand, when this economy crash, no man is going to be able to buy or sell. unless you got that chip, the mark of the beast. And that's what they want to do. They want to crash the global economy, and they want to cause all men to be perpetual slaves by putting a chip which tracks your every movement and allows you to buy and sell. And they can cut it on and off whenever they want to. You see? So if you don't take the chip, you're not going to be able to eat. And if you don't want to take the chip also, they might just put you to death. All right? So it's going to be hard on you people out here that depend on the system. Because the men of the Lord are going to be protected. All right? The men of the Lord are going to be protected. And we're not going to have to worry about not eating in that day, because, let me see if I can find that scripture. This is Isaiah 65:13. It said, therefore, thus saith the Lord of the Lord Yahawashi, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. All right, and that's also mentioned in 2nd Esdras. Second Esdras 2:26. It says, as for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number. Be not weary. And that number is dealing with the 2/3 of our people that will be caught in snares, along with Esau, the so-called white man, because 2/3 of our people will be destroyed on this side. 1/3 will be delivered. All right. 27 says, be not weary, for when the day of trouble in heaven is coming, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. The heathen, which is everyone outside of truth, all right, shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, except the Lord. It says, my hand shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell. And that hell is dealing with destruction. It says, be joyful, O thy mother, with thy children, for I will deliver thee, saith the Lord. All right, so the men of the Lord don't have nothing to worry about. We're actually hastening for the day that this comes. All right, I'm going to play a little bit more, and I'm going to get some more scriptures.
So it goes without saying that there is a complete financial breakdown coming, and the question is, what will the reset be like? Will it be catastrophic or even survivable? The Fed believes the S&P is the economy, when only 1% has any holding of substantial value. The remaining 99% S401k are a joke. Working 3 jobs and wife has stage 4 with 4 kids. We just hit $23 trillion in debt, more than double since the last financial meltdown. We are stealing from future generations more than $100 million every single hour of every single day. This is a crime. Welcome to the Atlantis Report. The banksters have trapped themselves. In the old days, interest rates were lowered to encourage new borrowing because the Ponzi scheme requires ever-increasing banking activity to survive. The number now required to maintain the system is so big that only negative rates can sustain it. Think of the absurdity that the government could pay off its debt by issuing negative interest rates bonds. Of course, that makes no sense. The return to equilibrium, thus, is a return to making sense. That can't happen without a crash and reset of the system. Inflation will be tried first. 90% debt to GDP real not nominal is a red line we crossed probably in the Obama era. The US currently stands at about 106% nominal, so real is perhaps closer to 120%. Interest goes up inevitably. That law is locked in stone, so I would take advantage of the time left to unload. The World Bank came up with a figure of 77% as a maximum for sustainable growth, but most nations changed the way they calculate GDP. Risky to take that number seriously. Too many untested theories. The US almost doubled the debt in the Bush-Obama era. It took 200 years to acquire the first half, so the combined global central bank decision to crash the system in a controlled manner was made probably in the Bernanke days. The best way to do this would be for some sort of alliance between allies towards a controlled import-export deal soon to be announced after 2020 Trump victory and Brexit. The lines are starting to be clear with a trade border between Eurasia and Anglo-America. The EU is in a rather precarious position right now. You could say between a rock and a hard place, for if it splinters borders, as history shows, things can be quite volatile. Donald Trump and the Republicans are doing the same things as Obama and the Democrats did. Unbridled borrowing and spending like there is no tomorrow to keep us from falling into the economic abyss. No oversight to their wild expenditure, as we can see with the impeachment hearings for an example. No one wants to bite the bullet and administer the economic pain that is waiting for us. As long as they continue this charade of economic fantasies, everyone is happy. We are like the Titanic sailing to that iceberg dead ahead and enjoying fake prosperity until we slam into reality. In addition to our looming corporate debt crisis, U.S. consumers are $14 trillion in debt, state and local government debt levels are at record highs, and the U.S. national debt just hit the $23 trillion mark. Pay close attention to the consumer debt figure. The national debt is bad, and it is one thing, but the consumer debt is going to rock everyone's world when it all goes bust. Remember what happens in a recession first of all. Jobs start disappearing, incomes start disappearing, and then bills do not get paid. When the federal government is broke beyond repair, and there are no allocations for states and local governments like there has been in the past, and these states and local county governments are already neck deep in debt themselves, it gets tight. As always, the consumer citizen gets the noose tightened around their neck even more, as these local governments that had been receiving about a third of their revenue from their state and federal government will now look to the citizens of each and every county to pay more for services. Where do these counties get the second highest amount of their revenue? From the taxes it collects on property owned by its citizens. The more you own, the more you pay. When the city and county revenues get cut by as much as a third, they will raise the property tax rates to compensate. Large homes with ample acreage will be hit the hardest, and then those newer homes all over the county, and especially those having to pay for services in the city such as water, sewer, and trash collection. All these things will cost more, and it will become unbearable for most citizens to pay. But pay they must, as the leaders in these different levels of government do not care about individuals. The debt will never be paid off. We can't...
See, these elite banks, man, they don't give a damn about you people. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much delivering you to the slaughter while they cashing out on all this gold and silver. And as the guy said before, man, once these jobs become low, once inflation starts to take effect, what's going to happen? These people are going to start protesting. They're going to start rioting, and it's going to be madness in the street. This is 2 Edges 15-14. It says, "Woe to the world, and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people should stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." And why would they stand up to fight against another? Because there's going to be inflation. There's going to be civil unrest going on in this country, and these people are going to be pinned against each other. All right, it's going to be straight survival mode out here. Verse 16. "For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right, it's going to be kill or be killed type shit. Verse 17. "And man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation." And that is talking about the Great Depression, which is coming at the collapse of America. All right. It says, "Behold, said the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them." To who? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives, all right, who have been taken captive by the so-called white man Esau. And all these nations have had an input on the destruction of the Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives who don't know that you are the children of the Most High. All right. And so that had something to do with you losing your heritage and you being in a lower state. All right. So this is what the Most High is repaying them back for. It says 21, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so I would do also a recompense in their bosom. That said the Lord power. All right, and the Lord is not coming back to save all his people. All right, verse 22, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. All right. The fire has gone forth from his wrath and have consumed the foundation of the earth, and has ultimately gone into the ICBM missiles, which are going to ultimately destroy America. And the sin is like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, said the Lord. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. And let the other 2/3 of our people that don't want to come back into the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, Yahawashi and his son Yahawashi, to be healed and delivered. All right, because we're going to be delivered, the one that's taking heed according to his word, because this is all the workings of the Most High, what you see going on right here with the global collapse. All right.
Can't even service or, let's say, pay the interest on the massive debt our wonderful men and women of Congress accumulated for all of us to pay. Both parties, Republican and Democrats alike, have jacked up our debt so much it will never be paid off. A significant reset is in order. In regard to the stock market, a broad topping pattern is what is evident. Signs of imminent downside correction. From my observations, this sideways chop is symptomatic of exhaustion. Combined with lower levels of liquidity, we could very well encounter a flash crash in the not-too-distant future. Stock investors better wake up and get over thinking about their stocks, as cash stocks are not money. They are paper certificates printed up by corporations and sold to you for Fed money that you will likely never see again. But the Fed money you gave to the corporations for their certificates does not disappear. It remains in the system. So when stocks go down, Fed money is not contracting or being destroyed. Only the imagined ability for you to get some Fed paper back has been destroyed. So when the stock market crashes by 90% this fall, the Fed's money supply remains unaffected and will be at same level or a higher level depending on QE. The rich are not going to get taxed to oblivion and then give campaign contributions to the party that forces them to pay more taxes. The middle class is drowning in debt because once you are in debt, you actually have to spend much less to get out of debt. Americans simply refuse to do that. They want the latest electronic toys. They want shiny new cars. They want it all, but they simply pretend that it's all free. Americans have no idea how to be frugal. I don't feel very sorry for most when their day of reckoning arrives. They had to know, in their heart of hearts, that the show can't go on.
And you know what? I feel the same way. When the men of Lord be pushing this word out and you so-called Negroes and Latinos and natives don't want to hear, man, it's like the hell with you, man, because we telling you what's going on and you're not hearkening, you're not listening, and eventually it's gonna bite you in the ass. And we waiting on that day, because as soon as this instruction comes, man, the sooner the men of the Lord will be delivered out of this hellhole, and it will be a start to a new world, a world that's gonna be ruled in righteousness. That's why we're hastening for this world to be overthrown, so it can issue in the Lord, the land of the Lord, you know, which is the kingdom of heaven for Israel. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives. So yeah, when that day come, man, we're not gonna shed a tear, you know, because we told you. In fact, the Lord said in that day we're gonna laugh at you mockers. So yeah.
On forever. Either you deal with it or you bury your head in the sand. Most Americans are completely ignorant about the one subject that everyone should study: money. They have no real assets, boatloads of liabilities, and even most of the middle class buy liabilities that they think are assets. It doesn't have to be this way, but it takes a little effort to educate yourself. And as long as the government taxes productive people to pay for unproductive people, then I will feel no sympathy for them. Prepare now or suffer the consequences. Simple as that.
Simple as that. I'm gonna stop it right there, man. If you wanna watch this video, you can go to let's see, the Atlantis report with his Triton right here. Alright. And as the man said, man, simple as that. If you really desire to get out of this hellhole, money is not gonna save you. Alright, this is all the work of the Most High, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi. And the only way that you're gonna make it out, man, is by him. So if you're a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native, as I've been saying, who are the Israelites, then you definitely want to. Yeah, so like I was saying, if you're a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native, man, you definitely want to revert back to your power source, which is Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, all right, which is the only way that you're going to be delivered out of this hellhole, because America will be destroyed. And if you're not on the side of the Lord who's causing all this to happen, then you're going to be destroyed right along with America, or wherever you are. All right, you're just going to be lost. All right, so this is Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this time of tribulation that is going to come upon the whole world globally is to pretty much try you so-called Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Natives, and see if you're going to take that chip. Because once everything falls and you have no job or no money and you can't eat, then what are you going to do? They're gonna offer you a microchip implant in order for you to eat. And if you don't take that microchip, you can't eat. So that's the temptation. That is the hour of temptation. You're either going to starve, or you're going to take a chip, or you're going to depend on YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, which is the name of the true Father and his beloved Son. And the men of the Lord, the servants, are going to eat in that day. All right, we're going to be protected. So, man, with that being said, I hope this was edifying to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Natives who are the Israelites of the Bible, the only one that can obtain salvation from this upcoming destruction. So with that being said, man, I hope this was edifying. Once again, Shalom.